Hey guys, the Uncultured Swine here, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about Raya and the Last Dragon. Since this movie is now free on Disney Plus, I decided to watch it because while I did really enjoy it the first time, I haven't really thought much about it since then. And yeah, as you can tell by the title, this movie is not very good. It does have great animation and really great action scenes, and also a really incredible score. However, my biggest problem with Raya is that the writing is really bad. The movie's message about how we should trust people and give people a chance, but
What? Undies? You've been very helpful.
To give a little trust first.
Sisu, don't.
Now, you're going to tell me where I can find those other Dragon Gem pieces.
the film just does a really poor job of showing how trusting people ends up winning in the end. Literally every time Sisu tries trusting someone, something ends up going wrong. And yeah, that's a huge problem with this movie. Sisu is a really annoying character. All she really does is just mess things up and just crack really unfunny jokes, and a lot of them just end up falling completely flat.
Wicked when I hit that liquid. I slaughter when I hit the water. I'm like really good at swimming through rhyme. I was trying to make that I'm really good at I'm a good swimmer. Is basically.
Like, I get the movie's message is how about we should trust people and all, but every time Sisu even tries to do that, something ends up going wrong. Yeah, I get the movie later tries to show her backstory and how the other dragons trusted her or whatever, but those are two completely different things. Your siblings trusting you to assemble a dragon gem or whatever is completely different from walking up to your enemies and offering them a gift and expecting them to trust you. And I feel like the movie realizes that it does such a terrible job of setting up its message because the entire third act just feels completely disconnected from the rest of the story. And the movie tries to make it seem like it's Raya's fault for having a perfectly fine reason not to trust her enemies. This movie possibly has one of the dumbest lines that I've ever seen in an animated movie.
Do whatever you want. But you're as much to blame for Sisu's death as I am.
Yeah, it's not the person who literally purposely shot Sisu, but the person who actually tried to give her a chance even though her plan has failed multiple different times. Like, Sisu was the one that was dumb enough to even try trusting Namari in the first place, but now it's somehow Raya's fault. In the end, I feel like we really just didn't really learn anything at all. I mean, did we really learn to come together and trust people, or did we learn that giving a bunch of gems to your enemy and turning to stone is what saves the day in the end? Like, Namari didn't even have to learn anything to even save the day in the end. While I do get that Raya does have problems trusting people, I really don't understand why she has such a problem trusting this random kid. Like, I highly doubt that this random kid that you just paid is going to try to poison you. I also feel like the movie tries way too hard to set up some sort of connection between Raya and Namari in the beginning. Like, even if I hadn't seen the trailers, I would have probably already known that she would betray her because of how forced their friendship felt. I also feel like this movie has a lot of wasted potential for a lot of interesting world building, but the way it structured its story just didn't really allow time for that. The movie kind of feels like it's structured like a video game where we go to a new location, spend around 5 to 10 minutes there, meet a new character who has their origin story briefly explained, have some sort of action scene in between, eventually get the dragon gem, and basically just do that 4 more times until we get to the third act. With this way the movie's structured, and especially how fast the pacing is, it just feels like we barely get to learn anything about Kamandra or really develop its characters. I barely really feel like we got to know much about Raya herself, and she's the main character. And it's even worse with all these other side characters that the movie has a ton of. I honestly think this movie would have worked a lot better as a series because it would have had a lot more time to develop its characters and expand on its world building. But no, the movie doesn't even try developing its characters or expanding on its world building or even having a well-written message. It just does the bare minimum, and it feels like barely any effort was put into this very cliche, predictable story. If this movie's writing wasn't so abysmal, I would have been a bit kinder to it, but since it is, I just can't find myself to really enjoy the story at all. So yeah, overall, Raya and the Last Dragon is a pretty bad movie. It's not necessarily a terrible movie, there are a lot worse Disney movies, but it's just still a very frustrating movie because of how better it could have been if its writing wasn't so bad. Overall, I'm gonna give Raya and the Last Dragon a 4.5 out of 10. Join me soon as I will do a video on a movie that really just says a lot about our society. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, please drop a like and subscribe, and I will see you guys all next time.